The internet is the largest creation in human history. It connects every corner of the planet. Every thought, every obsession, every secret, all flowing through the same endless network of screens. But if you dig deep enough, you'll find corners that were never meant to be seen. Pages that feel wrong. Videos and pictures that shouldn't exist. Today, we're diving into those dark corners, into the cases that remain unsolved. And before we begin, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join the Patreon for early access and uncensored versions of every video, and many, many more perks. And without further ado, let's get into the internet's darkest mysteries. And before we begin, a quick warning. The following case is based on public speculation and publicly available information. Nothing discussed here has been proven, and no one mentioned should be assumed guilty of any crime. Please do not contact, harass, or investigate anyone named or shown in this piece. This content is for educational and documentary purposes only. Let's begin. The Instagram Blue Pages. In my search for news stories, I came across this Reddit post, titled, "Dozens of Weird Instagram Accounts with Seemingly Random Symbols." The poster provides 5 screenshots of different accounts, each with mysterious blue artwork and drawn symbols. Shapes like 8-pointed stars, circles, spirals, squares with dots, clovers, concentric circles, and each account is following only one other account. Another user with another set of strange blue photos, with the same graphics and color schemes. This chain goes on for something like 30 accounts, then the chain circles back. At first it seems innocuous enough, just some weird AI-generated art. But one commenter, JustADude3X, provided a theory. Oof, this might be steganography, and given the context how you found it, you probably should report it. Further down, JustADude3X explains what steganography is. It's basically a random image, but some pixels are slightly changed in color. If you look at it, you see a normal picture, but a software can extract data out of the way the pixels are changed. There might be a different picture or even video or audio encoded in these pictures. So, the user thinks it should be reported, but why? They seem innocent enough. If the assumption is that these images could be hiding other content, other images, what are they? Well, I began looking through the 30 accounts, and within a couple of minutes, something felt off. The images weren't AI generated. These were hand-drawn, blue spirals, circles, odd posts that blended emojis or video play buttons, on posts with no art, just a blank white background. I saw 13 likes, 20, 100, 200. In one of the most shocking profiles, named Friend de la Pau, holds a cryptic message. Reversed, that username reads La Petite Dernière, which translates to the youngest in the family. On the account choice_images, which translates to 3 images, there are only 3 blue images. Some strange comments written in different languages have odd or disturbing meanings when translated. In Russian, one user writes, "A whole year has flown by, and you haven't changed at all. You look great. Do you still remember me?" Another in French writes, "The girl's really sexy." Another user comments, 3 heart emojis and 2 clap emojis. But what are they commenting about? The comments don't seem consistent with the seemingly random image. Redditors started coming up with theories about the blue pages. One theory, proposed by Bored Frankie, seemed to set this mystery to rest. I'm like 99% sure that this is an experimental art exhibition being put on by an individual in Place de Fêtes by the name of Papi Camion, which translates to Grandpa Truck, who is known in Paris art scene for having a really wacky truck. I say this because, at the very bottom of the Instagram account, Marie-Jean Claude, which appears to be the central account, there are a bunch of seemingly normal, at least in comparison, pictures of the truck and items inside the truck. Someone, another artist, because again, people in the art scene know him, commented on an old picture. "Poppy, is it really you?" And he responded confirming that it was. He also says in the other comments that he's doing something experimental. Looking into Poppy Cameron, it appears that he's just a dude with an interesting truck. He did an interview with Iodine Zine in 2015 where they write, mind you, this is all translated from French, that he was born in the 1970s and let go progressively over time of unnecessary matters, and has only kept a passport, a change of clothes, and a van. And since then, he has been navigating the world as a hermit, sort of a van life situation. Poppy Carameon's truck had been photographed numerous times, such as by this photographer under Edition, and he is widely loved in the art world. If you go on the hashtag Poppy Cameron or Poppy Cameron on Instagram, there are dozens of pictures of him in his truck. Many of the posts are of him and hashtags with things like urban art or exhibit, and are posted by other artists themselves. In a post under the hashtag Poppy Cameron, there's a picture of him standing outside of the truck. The person who posted it is an artist slash photographer slash fashion designer slash whatever, who said they were shooting with Poppy Cameron and some models. A photographer with 40,000 followers who commented on that post in a way that insinuates to them knowing Poppy also follows the Mary Claude Jean account. I found that they've legitimately done shoots together on her website too. Basically what I'm saying is that real, successful people know him and follow him on purpose. I think he's probably doing something art related, perhaps, or is unfortunately suffering from mental illness. I think the likelihood of it being something more sinister is slim. This initially brought me comfort. All of this was just an art exhibition by a popular French artist, but I still couldn't shake a bad gut feeling. So I went to the account titled Mary Claude Jean to see if I could find anything out of the ordinary. Again, more hand-drawn artwork, bright blue and cryptic. The same symbols that persist through all of the accounts were appearing here too. But this account was different. The stories on Marie Claude Jean's account were disturbing and weird. There are 4 videos. 2 of them are of a couple playing a ball game of some sort. The other 2 videos are of children, 2 girls outside of a van, as their parents unload the vehicle. After seeing these videos, I came to suspect that maybe this wasn't just an art project, and maybe their intentions could be more nefarious. Someone asked how the original poster had come across these images in the first place, and his explanation was damning. I should add context. I found creepy accounts linked with predatory behavior, and when I looked into this, I found these as well. One account has a highlight of recording children going to their car. It's disgusting. I'm thinking this is something to do with a ring of predators, but I don't know anything about it. Looks like the OP had discovered the same videos I had, and his concerns were very clear. According to their speculation, this might have something to do with people attracted to children. So, what does steganography have to do with any of this? The images that could allegedly be hidden inside these coded blue posts, well, if the theory is to be believed, then these posts might be hiding something more sinister. Something the commenters described as sexy and beautiful. Allegedly, Redditors speculate, these images could be hiding cheese pizza. And it doesn't stop at the blue page accounts. See, one commenter, DamnPlayer23, did his own research and began investigating even further. Hey, I just did a deep dive. If you got to their tag posts, there's thousands of accounts, all with thousands of posts. This is extremely disturbing and should be reported to authorities. And the commenter was correct. In my research, I found hundreds, thousands of other users, either following the blue page accounts or tagged in their posts. I began the investigation with one of the blue page accounts called Noilipap, but this account specifically had hundreds of tagged images and hundreds of followers, just like the commenter said. So I followed the trail, and what I found made me genuinely nauseous. Barbies. Now, this is all suspicious but not damning in and of itself. There are tons of art accounts on Instagram. Perhaps people have gotten a recommended white image from one of these accounts and thought, wow, what a beautiful piece of modern art. Clap emoji, heart eyes. Sure, it could all be perfectly innocent, but what if there was something else happening beneath the surface? I wanted more information. And the thousands of photos, most had very few interactions, few comments, few likes, but thousands of followers. And the comments were all suspiciously similar. The commenters used the same emojis: blue hearts, heart eyes, fire emojis, and butterflies. And they all followed Noilipap in one way or another, somewhere down the massive chain. So, what does this all mean? How do emojis do anything to confirm or dismiss the cheese pizza theory? Couldn't these just be normal art accounts? Well, this could very well be the case, and I wouldn't mention it if these weren't popular, well-known child lover symbols. The color blue, blue hearts, and butterflies, these are well-known codes that government officials and investigators are well aware of. In the past, predators have used these symbols and colors to communicate hidden messages and their tastes. One that caught my attention was the butterfly. The emoji is based on a specific species of butterfly, known as the papillon. It's famous for its striking blue and black coloring, but online, it has a secret meaning. To child lovers, it signals that the user has no preference for gender. Boys or girls are both accepted. I remembered the account that led me down the rabbit hole in the first place. The one with hundreds of tags and followers, Noilipap, well, it hit me. Noilipap backwards is Papillon. Now, I will say this again. All of this could just be art accounts following one another, but all of this together is more than a little suspicious. Down the follower rabbit hole, I landed on an art account and a user going by the name Candy Picosa. All of her posts are Barbie themed, with dolls and sets that make it look like a fashion designer's Instagram. And although the whole page is incredibly odd, this again isn't proof that there's anything weird going on. But the papillon butterfly was a prevalent symbol in her account description. That, and she was a frequent commenter on the Blue Pages posts. So once again, I came to suspect that even these images weren't just images, and I began to dig deeper. On her story, I found a photo of two Barbie dolls lying in the grass, skirts up, revealing their underwear. It began to remind me of another Instagram account, one more prolific, disgusting, and disturbing. Smart Schoolboy 9 was one of the most infamous and unsettling Instagram accounts ever uncovered in 2024. He was a child lover. People believed Smart Schoolboy 9 was part of a much larger problem. Similar child lover pages communicating through the supposed artistic expression, and his followers, when investigated, were often just as interested in childish fantasies. A couple of years ago, his page was taken down after mass attention and scrutiny, but even when it disappeared, copies and clones began to surface. Accounts with similar names, reposted content, and identical aesthetics. This disgusting man, sadly, had some fans. In the Blue Page accounts and the mass of followers I discovered, it felt eerily similar. And that's when I came across a comment. One that had drawn a startling comparison themselves. The user writes, recent comment on the page called account, I'm not going to read it out. A user commented, bro likes to diddle kids. And today responded to another user saying, for context, this guy was mutuals with Smart Schoolboy 9. It's really old speculation that they were up to no good. Welcome to the thread. An alleged connection between the Blue Pages and Smart Schoolboy 9, a known predator. but I couldn't find any recorded proof that this is true, so take it with a grain of salt. But it doesn't end there. Let's go back to the Instagram Blue Page accounts. As I was collecting screenshots from these accounts, I noticed a recurring pattern. Certain symbols were repeated over and over again. The clover, the square with dots, the circles. And I noticed that, especially on Nollipop's account, they weren't just random. They were laid out in grids. Some of them even looked like code. To me, it looked like a cryptogram. Messages written in code, and they could be seen across all of the Blue Page accounts. So I screenshotted the images and submitted them to an AI because I'm not a cryptographer, to see if the program could find some code hidden within the images. And it did. The AI determined, yes, this was in fact a substitution cryptogram. A substitution cryptogram is when letters or numbers are replaced by images or symbols. If you carefully analyze the patterns, you can determine what the coded messages are. Now, this is AI we're talking about, and this could very well be an overzealous program looking for patterns that aren't there. But the message it provided made the whole thing that much more interesting. The codex is as follows: target, circle plus crosshair is T, plus is E, 6 petal rosette / flower is O, clover / four lobe is S, 8-point star is A, 4 small corner dot is F, quartered circle is C, single outline square is N, stacked / overlapping squares is H, often also used as space, circle with a center dot is I, a large X is K, circle containing a small square is D, 3x3 grid square is R, plain circle is usually O, circle with diagonal slash is U. And the 4 words that allegedly repeat over and over across the account: to see, click, save. If we were to speculate for a moment, if this were truly cheese pizza, and that's a big if, how might prospective predators access the alleged photos? They'd have to get the images out of the artwork somehow, right? Well, how might they do that? Well, they'd need to buy a program, some sort of software to decode the images and pull out the real image and follow the instructions provided. When I was 16, 2 people from my high school were caught with tens of thousands of inappropriate young photos. They happened years apart from one another, and they're both in jail. One a student, the other a teacher. And I've always wondered, for years, how people get caught with so much cheese pizza. Where are they getting it from? The dark web? How are they accessing so much content without getting caught? It can't be that easy to get content like this, and especially thousands of images. How do they go years and years without getting caught? If the theory on Reddit about the Blue Pages is correct, then the answer would be simple. They wouldn't need to dig to get what they wanted. It wouldn't be some dark web backroom or content locked behind a password. It could be right there, on the surface web, hidden in plain sight on your Instagram feed. It's entirely possible that this could be something much, much worse than an art project. A multinational open-air marketplace for child lovers looking to buy and distribute disgusting photos and videos, and it might be happening right on Instagram, the most popular photo sharing app to date. But it's also possible that this is all just an art project. And frankly, I don't know what's true. There's just not enough information to make an actual case for either theory about the Instagram Blue Pages. This is all speculative. There is no actual proof, only alleged evidence and supposed connections drawn that could admittedly be wrong. Regardless, the Instagram Blue Pages has become one of the most weird, unsettling, and mysterious stories I've ever covered. And in all honesty, I'm the first YouTuber to cover this, and I'm very curious as to what it truly means. The 4chan murders. 4chan is an image board website modeled after the Japanese site 2chan. The site is divided into boards dedicated to different topics, ranging from anime, video games, and technology to politics, fitness, and adult content. Its B board, which serves as the random content thread, is especially notorious for shock content, trolling, and depraved media. On the 21st of August, 2015, an untitled thread was started on 4chan's random board. The user began the post with a short paragraph. "I have killed several women for pleasure. If you can guess a name, I will upload a picture. If you can guess a name of any of these women, I will upload their photo. No more than 10 names per post. Any more than that will be ignored. Some are Polaroids and others were taken with a disposable camera. I also have pictures of them before death when I was able to do so. If you guess all of the names, I will show you where I dumped a body in 1999. The first one is free, as her name is unlikely to be guessed." The user then posted an image, which showed a young woman's graduation photo, mid-20s, with curly black hair and a big smile. Next to it, a photo of a presumably dead woman, lying prone and covered in blood, with a striking resemblance to the woman in the graduation photograph, and below a handwritten timestamp on a piece of paper, provided by the user to prove its authenticity. The first photo had the date August 21st, 2005, written as the timestamp. Naturally, most users suspected this was a cruel hoax or a joke. After all, what are the odds a serial killer would post these images, possibly incriminating himself? It seemed beyond belief, and given the site's history of hoaxes and shock content, it was more likely some loser had staged the photos to get a rise out of users. But some people played along. They started to guess names, and one of them was correct. The killer replied, "Wow, off to a great start. Incredible. I fixed the timestamp. My mistake." And then with it, another photo. Another woman's body. This time, much more graphic. The corpse was completely naked, legs spread. Judging by the state of decay, she had been dead for some time. Below the photo, a corrected timestamp, reading August 21st, 2015, the exact date of posting. Shortly after, the killer shared another photo, presumably of the same victim, this time stuffed into a cardboard box, her legs sticking out from it, and her arms twisted unnaturally. "This is from before I played with her." He then posted another photo of the woman, before being killed. This photo was taken by the killer. She was lying in bed, smiling at the camera. Accompanying this photo was yet another photo of her corpse. Needless to say, this unsensible content was immediately flagged by 4chan. In just 20 minutes after the initial thread was created, it was taken down by moderators, and all of the original content was lost. Except for the fact that one anonymous user took screenshots. All of the photos were subject to a reverse image search, which then revealed that none of the images, not a single one, had been ever posted before. These images had not originated online. They were originals, which meant that, although they had hoped otherwise, this was no hoax. This was, in fact, a serial killer. A user asked the question, "How could you get these photos developed with a disposable camera? It's required to alert the police to anything weird going on in any photo that is developed." The killer replied, "I developed them." If this was true, it would mean the killer had access to a dark room, but this seemed odd. Someone in 2015 having access to a personal darkroom to develop disposable camera photos was unlikely. It wasn't impossible, but it brought up more questions than answers. Users contacted the FBI, and made them aware of the threat. But in the meantime, all they could do was wait. Then, a month later, to the shock of the users invested in the case, the anonymous poster returned to 4chan. August 22nd, 2015. A picture of a nude male victim, covered in blood. The photo had a strip of white paper over it, covering the victim's eyes, presumably to hide his identity. He's presumably sitting up in bed, shielding his face, leading users to believe he was still alive when the photograph was taken, badly injured. He might have been trying to defend himself. Regardless, the caption read, "Dying, dying." And just 7 minutes later, the user posted another photo of the man. This time, the caption simply read, "Dead." He then posted an image of a man, presumably himself, wearing a red ski mask and sunglasses, pointing a shotgun at the camera. Then he wrote his final message: "I'll be back in a month to finish our game. If it is not this exact timestamp with an updated date, it is not me." Though users waited for more updates from the killer, he never posted to 4chan again, and he has not been heard from since. In the second post, behind the photograph of the man, there is another photograph of a young woman, covered in blood, wearing a black bra and tattered clothes, lying on similar white sheets to a man. Upon inspection, I have determined this is the same woman from the original post. She's wearing the same clothes as the first victim, a brown threaded shirt and dark pants. This means that not only are all of these photos original, but there are multiple photos of the victims, more than were ever posted. Now, this is a startling revelation. This was not the work of someone attempting to shock users with faux crime scene photos. If so, why not post all of the photographs? Why not show us the full breadth of the depravity? In my opinion, this was the work of someone posting individual photos, hand-curated, to play a game without getting caught. After the original post was made, news reporters contacted local police after online sleuths identified the first victim by her graduation photo. The victim was Shauna Maynard, a runaway who was shot dead in 1998. The police attributed the post to a hoax, though they would not elaborate. They stated a lack of evidence and that there was no merit to the case. Shauna's killer has never been caught, and to this day, it is an unsolved case. So, is it possible that she was killed by the 4chan user, then later dumped and shot to cover the actual cause of death? Or was Shauna a red herring, posted simply to throw the online investigation off, send them on a wild goose chase, without ever revealing the actual victim? Once again, without more information, there seem to be more questions than answers. And although there have been attempts made to identify the other victims, there have been no more confirmed identifications. To this day, the true identity of the 4chan killer remains unknown. No one has ever been arrested in connection with these disturbing posts, and no law enforcement agency has confirmed whether the posts were authentic, staged, or stolen. Today, all that remains are the screenshots, grainy fragments of horrific scenes debated in late-night forums, and although users haven't given up on identifying the victims or finding the killer, there has been no ground made in a very long time. So, was it an elaborate hoax or a real serial killer who wanted to play a game? The only certainty is this: someone out there knows the truth. And if this truly was a game, since there have been no arrests made and no investigation has been announced, it looks like he's gotten away with it.